Welcome back to Pro Flight Paddle. I'm Patty Hogan alongside David Broderick, and we are at the beautiful and historic Lehigh Country Club in Allentown for the next stop on the Pro Flight Paddle Tour. Dave, welcome.
Patty, it's great to be back here. Although we talked about it earlier today, I have fond memories of doing this last year and talking for 8 straight hours, I believe it was, by myself. It was quite an adventure, so I'm super happy to have you alongside.
Well, I
today.
think you've never been so grateful for my company, Dave.
No, always love having you next to me. But after the last experience here at Lehigh, it was Country Club. Yeah, that was. Even I didn't think I could talk for that long.
So we have a 70-degree day here in Allentown, Pennsylvania for this next stop on our Pro Flight Paddle Tour. And Dave, tell us about the players, and we've got some stories here.
All right, so on the court that we're watching, we have in the red hat, the gold paddle, we have Drew Broderick, who is the director of rackets at the club. He's also a 4-time APTA men's national champion, as you can see on there on the screen. First lefty to win a national championship from the Ed side. You know, that I think is the motivation behind Drew's entire career. Ron Cummins. All right, and he's going to be playing with Tomas Christian. His partner is at Aronimink Golf Club, played tennis collegiately at LaSalle University, and he has played in 3 previous Pro Flight Paddle events as well. And their opponents are going to be Scott Kaler, who is from Lebanon Township, Pennsylvania, and he's a teaching pro out there. He's played in several Pro Flight events, as you can see on there.
A retired teaching pro.
Retired teaching pro. And he will be playing with Casey Watt. We're getting the band back together for this one. We had a last-minute substitution, and Casey was available to play, and we're glad to have him. And you see Casey and Scott up at the net, and you see Tomas and Drew back on the baseline.
And talk about a last-minute fill-in. I mean, kudos to Casey, and I don't know what Scott Kaler said when he called Casey this morning at 8 o'clock and said, Sven Burris is out. You're in. I need you. I'm already on my way to Allentown. I'm turning around. Be outside your door. Bring a couple change of clothes. And here we are kicking off our pro flight.
Scott added time on his trip.
He did. And what makes Pro Flight unique, for those of you who are new to this, is the formats here are not traditional in terms of typical tournaments. Dave, today we have 3 high-level men's matches that are going to be round robin. So each of the teams, we've got 2 of the men's teams right here, and our team hidden away, starting out in mixed doubles play, is none other than Hughes and Powers, national champions, heading 2 weeks into now as maybe the hottest team.
Yeah, they've been playing well.
Hottest team in the game.
Yeah,
and
they've been playing really well.
And Dave, they're on another court, and we're kicking this unique format off here for the members of Lehigh Country Club with some mixed play featuring 2 of the top women in the game.
Yep, and
who's over there, Dave?
We have Martina Andrekova, and I practiced that a few times. And we have Roxy Anika. And, yeah, I think, we'll be going back and forth, showing a little bit of the mixed throughout the day. But, yeah, I think we're going to have all good matches. We have all great players out here today. And, again, it's just the weather's beautiful. You see everyone's out in shorts, short-sleeve shirts. No, the weather's beautiful.
And, what an amazing warm-up for Roxy and Martina to be down here. And just as the numbers worked out with available teams, Drew opted for for mixed doubles play. And so everyone gets to play mixed and men's here.
Yep.
And what a great warm-up for Martina and Roxy for Nationals in 2 weeks, which we are hosting out of New Jersey. We are pitch hitting for the Country Club out of Brookline. Sadly, they had to pass on running the national champions this year, so our junior nationals crew gets to run 2 national championships out of the Summit, New Jersey area this year in 2 weeks. Nationals coming up April 10th and 11th. And what's going to be unique is the Pro Flight team here. Evan and Ben are going to be involved with showcasing some of the game's best players at nationals this year. The APTA made the decision that because we were going to be limited with spectators to provide safe environment for all of the players and all of the officials from the tournaments, we've roped Ben and Evan in, and they're going to be streaming all day on Saturday of the national championships out of Montclair Golf Club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we hope to bring about 20 matches into everyone's homes during the Nationals weekend.
You know, it'll be interesting to see, and I think it's a good way to get people where, you know, they don't have to be at a lot of the different sites. They could just stay home and watch it on TV, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, we are not encouraging spectators at this point. New Jersey has limits, and APTA and our tournament committee will follow all the guidelines New Jersey has in place so that we can make sure everyone stays safe. And you know, what a tough paddle season with COVID, Dave, and our prayers go out to all the families who have been directly impacted by it. We're lucky enough that we're involved with this sport of paddle, which we can be outside for our job, 6 feet apart most of the time.
Yep.
We've been really lucky, and you know, COVID has been an amazing gift almost to the sport of platform tennis, because it's one of the few sports that everyone has been allowed to play, and we've seen an uptick. Every club, every pro around the country talking about record number of participations, kids from 5-year-olds getting involved, anyone.
Yeah, I have people asking about if there's going to be paddle in the summer, that they want to keep playing, they don't want to stop, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, the game has gone to a year-round sport. We play up in Ticonderoga, as you know, Dave, year-round up there on the courts. Lake George Paddle and Pickle. Quick shout-out to anybody watching from there. And, you know, this is a year-round sport, and that's the amazing thing. It's kind of like golf, Dave, where, you come out. The court's always the exact same dimensions, but the temperature impacts the game greatly.
Right.
And so we'll see some warm weather paddle. We'll talk about some of the differences for all of those you watching at home, why someone might be doing something, and it's definitely temperature, affected. And quick shout out, Dave, to this beautiful course. I heard you got to play today with Edmund, your son Edmund, your daughter Marissa. Hughes and Powers, I think, played some golf out there.
Yeah, they were out there as well.
It's all part of the Pro Flight experience, right,
yeah.
Dave? For the members, and these pros come in, and it's not just about the paddle, it's the camaraderie, and it's having an opportunity to come to a beautiful and historic club, check out their golf course as well as their paddle.
Yeah, no, the golf course was beautiful. And unfortunately I agreed to play with Edmund and Owen from the back tees, and so I got to see the whole place, and it was beautiful. We were talking to the caddy, Kyle, and he had told us how they had taken out a lot of trees, and you could just see through the golf course so much. The views were spectacular. Beautiful trout stream running through the middle of it. So
nice.
No, it was really, and it was in good shape. For March golf, it was in great shape.
Okay, so Dave, we're about to launch here. It looks like your younger little brother, Drew Broderick, will be serving first. I think he's telling Tomas Christian right now, just kind of reiterating some of their tactical stuff. They had an opportunity to get on the court yesterday. Tomas usually plays with our buddy J.C. Cotto out of Aronimink, and he's teamed up here with Drew, and Drew has a lot of confidence in what he's seen in Tomas's game. And, for Tomas, this is a great learning experience. He feels like all his members do, where he's usually the pro and there's lesson taking, and here he has the chance to play 5 hours of paddle with one of the best tacticians our sport's ever seen in your brother Drew.
And I agree 100% with that, where I think it's, more than anything, hopefully he's not too nervous about it. He's, relaxed and does look at it as a learning experience. And just to see that, this is what it takes. This is what you have to put into it to, get.
They're not going to talk before every point like this, are they, Dave?
I hope not.
Broderick to serve. Casey Watt returning from the deuce court, and that's Kaler over in the ad court in all black. Actually, he's got camo pants on, Dave. You just can't tell they're camo.
Right.
So in terms of styles of play, Let's start with Scott Kaler over there in that far court. Semi-finalist nationals in the Pittsburgh event that he ran a couple years ago, Dave, with Brian Compton. They played a great tournament. I think I was on that match. I think they went out to Durant and Parsons maybe in the semis. And Kaler is just sneaky great player, willing to play. I mean, the longest points, almost as long as what Broderick really is willing to play.
Yeah, no, he's super solid, and he's got a really good backhand, good forehand. It'll be interesting because I think we're going to see a lot of firepower coming from Casey Watt, big-time tennis player from Notre Dame, and yeah, he's not afraid to swing and hit it.
Kaler, typically we see him in the deuce court, Dave, when he plays with Brian Compton. Brian Compton has one of the most amazing two-handed backhands, along with Mark Parsons, a couple of guys like that, and they just take away that overhead from the guy to the left at the net into that ad corner because of how good they are. And, Kaler, I've not seen him play a lot in the ad court, Dave, but deuce court, he's one of the sneaky greatest deuce court players out there. Loves to volley. And this isn't surprising that this is the start, and 70 degrees, we're going to have some long points.
15 all.
And I think, though, for the fans that are watching live and on the live stream, I think they're going to be in for a treat with the weather and how they're going to be able to spin the ball today. I think you're going to see a lot more cut overheads and slash overheads because with the weather, it's going to make it easier to do it.
So the ball moves more, Dave, because the temperature, because it's so warm?
Well, it's easier to compress it and
15-30.
get it to stick to your paddle a little bit better, and you could put a little bit more spin on it. When it's a colder, like freezing temperature, it doesn't respond as well.
So right here early on, Dave, you can see it looks like Drew's going to have Tomas hit a lot of the overheads and try to keep, looks like he's going to go with, try to keep that ball deep, and Drew will be the guy on top of the net, which is kind of a little bit of a different role for Drew. Drew usually loves to hit a majority of the overheads when he's playing.
I just think early on in this first game, Tomas and Drew, I think too many backside overheads. You saw Scott Kaler get a couple of really good rips with his backhand off the screen. I don't know how long they're going to be able to.
Well, that's the thing, Scott, kind of driving that ball was a little surprising here, and maybe Scott, to his credit, he can play all different ways, and depending on who he plays with, he sort of goes into a role here, and maybe he sees that playing with Casey, he's going to have to bring a little bit more of the offense.
Right.
And Casey is amazing, Dave. I know you've gotten to see him play some matches. I just love the guy's effort and attitude out there. He gives it his all every single point. He gets that because he's one of 6, Dave. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Those big families, you gotta be a grinder.
And it's interesting to see here, Patty, Drew staying in the forehand side during this point.
Sure, so we typically see Broderick over, as we talked about, first lefty to win in the ad court.
Maybe at Nationals we see Palmer in the backhand, and Drew wants to become the first lefty to win from the forehand and the backhand.
Hey, whatever makes them the strongest team, all of these guys have a willingness to adjust their position all the time. It's a great thing. Club players tend to kind of get stuck playing one side, where all of these guys all know you have to learn every shot from every side.
I think the other thing the fans are going to see a lot of today is also a lot of balls getting hit through. Because of the weather, they're willing to let the hard drives go through, play them off the back screen. And
so you mean when you're up at the net with your partner, if you can't hit a solid volley, you're just going to let that ball go, because the ball's going to come all the way back to the service line, and we'll be right back after this first message.
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
So we're back. Maybe we never left. I mean, we stayed here the whole time.
That's right. We were here. We haven't gone anywhere.
Scott Kaler served. What did that do, Dave? Did that go off the top?
I think it hit off the metal up top and just shot out.
So Tomas has he has one thought here, Dave. Don't miss.
Right.
Put the ball back in play.
See right there, we almost see
15 all.
2 in a row hit throughs.
Yep, and you saw Casey Watt do his best imitation. He got down on his knee, literally, to let that ball go through.
Kaler almost got the medal again.
You know, we saw Kaler pull out a little bit of the slash there overhead, Dave. You know, I'll be curious how much experimenting with the overheads they're going to do, because I just don't know. This is a tough day to end a point.
Right.
And if Broderick and Christian have that willingness to put a million balls in play.
And I think you're going to see more hard
Some
balls
point.
into the nick on overheads.
Yeah,
Try to hit
maybe-
them a little harder, trying to.
Like, you have to risk. You would hit shots that maybe you wouldn't normally hit.
Right.
You gotta be joking.
30-15.
I think another strategy on overheads we might see from the net team is just hitting everyone instead of going side back or backside, aiming right for the nick. Try to hit it right into the corner and, you know, get a funny bounce or get the ball to shoot out. I think that play right there, Tomas has to look to be a little bit more aggressive with it when they're coming to his side.
Yeah, and if he's got a ton of time and it's a shorter
Right.
ball, just to keep
Right,
Kaler and Watt, you know,
Right.
like honest and pull them in. Otherwise, they're just going to hang pretty far off the
Right.
net.
Like, I think that ball has to get driven.
Thought it was out.
Just because you don't,
30
you know,
all?
you don't want to give them the feeling that they could just dump the ball in the corner.
Dave, you know what time it is? I think it's time for our first true and false of the day.
All right.
Club was formed in 1910. True or false? The club's former name was the Allentown Golf Club.
That's true. Ooh, see a
30-40.
uncharacteristic mistake there from Scott Kaler.
Interesting serve from Kaler. Kind of hit that low contact point, but just got that ball really deep in the service box to Drew.
Well, I think in the warm weather, you don't want that ball bouncing up and giving the returner the ability to drive down on the ball.
Is that Dan Englander's playing I hear in the background? Come and check out Mark Powers and Hughes.
Now that sounds like there's propellers on
Game.
that plane
Broderick,
going over.
Christian.
But yeah, I guess they didn't
1 all.
tell the flight tower that there's paddle going on today.
Love 15.
But that's the idea, and for Broderick and Christian to do well here, Tomas has to perfect that shot deep.
Right.
And so a miss early on, just a tiny bit long, it's not terrible.
Oh, all that.
15 all.
Dave,
Good move by
30.
Scott Kaler there to close the net on the drive.
he's kind of one of the best in the game, I think, at that, Dave.
He does
has
close the
no
net very well.
fear.
Yep.
Still help.
I love it. The cutter from Kaler there. And there he was,
30 all.
right on top of the
Broderick
net.
Christian.
That's what we're talking about. Kaler is going to be playing with Philip Rams in Nationals. Brian Compton's not going to come out from
30,
Chicago, and Scott and Kaler and Rams, really tough team. More Pittsburgh guys.
I think Brian Compton's even been down in Florida on the pickleball circuit.
Can you imagine his two-handed backhand on the pickleball court, Dave? I'm seeing more of that in the videos that I'm watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see Broderick lets that ball drop pretty low and hit that slice overhead. Ball stays down nice and low, even when it's 70. I love the dashing and the
Yeah.
darting from Kaler and Watt here.
Again, I think it goes back to your point before of saying you're going to have to find out different ways to win points.
Yep, they have a lot of confidence. They know each other's games. They have great instincts together. So even though they've not played a lot of paddle this year together, they got
Use.
this. They already know what they're doing.
Right.
Great cutoff there. for
Advantage.
Drew.
Broderick Christian.
Good, safe.
Talk about a two-handed backhand. Casey Watt's got a pretty sweet one right there from up the middle. And again, Dave, right there, Kaler let that ball go through. Got a ton of confidence in Watt. Just come up with the next shot.
But you just see how long the points are going.
Ah! Such a bad shot right there.
Game Broderick Christian. 2-1.
We'll be right back from Pro Flight.
Now with that said.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever.
And welcome back to Lehigh Country Club for Pro Flight Paddle. You're watching Drew Broderick and Tomas Christian taking on Scott Kaler and Casey Watt in the first match of the men's and mixed round robin.
3 men's teams
Club 15.
who will play each other. And we have Martina Andreikova and Roxy Anika who will play mixed doubles with each of these
15
players
all.
as well.
I think that was just an ace there, Patty.
Wow.
30-15.
Again, Scott Kaler trying a different type of overhead, and
And Dave, Kaler hit that overhead. He hit it because he wanted Drew to drive the next ball.
Right.
So these guys are planning a shot or two ahead, and they want to induce the drive from their opponents.
40-15.
A lot of club level players, go into prayer when there's a short ball
Right.
and a drive's coming from their opponent, whereas these guys are going to really bait each other to hit the drive on a day like today.
Forty 30.
You can hear Drew kind of whispering. He's
Right.
this is a player-coach situation here. Drew's got extraordinary amount
Deuce.
of knowledge that he's sharing with Tomas, and Tomas has a great attitude. He's risen in the rankings, into top 50 with his boss, J.C. Cotto. But to have an opportunity to come out here with one of the game's all-time great players, I mean, this is going to be so helpful to him as a player.
The ball is just flying. The ball's just flying all over.
Advantage Broderick Christian.
Did that hit a seam, Dave?
It hit the net. It hit a seam. Then there's another ace.
Speaking of, Dave, true or false? George Parr,
Second deuce.
Rusty Seams, and Henry Williams were all among Lehigh Country Club's first golf pros.
That would be false. I think Rusty Seams is a paddle professional.
And if you don't know who Rusty Seams is, go check out the videos on the YouTube at the Chicagoland. With the future, Jeroni Barnes, Brian Compton's involved. Those guys do a great job. I just wanted to include Rusty here in this broadcast.
They are very funny.
Dave, true or false? If you wear white socks, you wear white sneakers. If you wear black socks, you wear black sneakers.
That's looking true right now. And we
Game
saw
Broderick
first
Christian.
double deuce,
3
sudden,
serving 1.
sudden death point.
Dave, so what's the format here today?
So the men's format will be second deuce, no ad, with a pro flight tiebreaker for the third set if needed. And the mixed doubles will be 8-game pro sets, regular scoring.
And the guys will serve to the guys, and the women will serve to the women.
15 love.
The one thing, for everyone watching, because there are, I know myself at Fiddlers, I have a ton of righty-lefty teams, but like Drew and Tomas don't play that often together, but you watch them at the net moving, and it's pretty seamless that, they're never in each other's way, and they're kind of switching sides of the court.
15 all.
Little hesitation right there from Tomas. He didn't know to let that ball go through or
Right.
not. That's the one little thing with a lefty-righty who are not used to playing with each other. Finding that seam in between the two players that Casey Watt found right there on Tomas.
So I just think that ball off the back screen, they got to be careful with.
But again, I think it just is inducing Kaler to be far more offensive than we usually see.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was close.
Yeah. Good exchange. Wow.
Great hands from everyone. This is actually really fun, Dave. It's kind of defense and then offense,
Right.
and everybody's bringing it here.
15 all.
5:30, right?
Oh, it's 5:30. My bad.
And I think when it's this warm, Dave, sometimes lobbing gets really hard to keep the longer points, and that's what Kaler is far more comfortable doing. And Broderick throws up a trillion lobs.
Right.
30 all.
On a warmer day, it's a little harder to control those.
You aggressive on that overhead. Dave.
You even see on the serves, see how much they're starting to aim more at the nick, more at the corner to try to get that funny bounce.
Yep, and you heard Broderick say it to Tomas. Be more aggressive.
30, 40.
He doesn't want him to hit the floater all the time. He wants to kind of go right into Kaler's body. And Kaler's kind of positioned himself cheating a little bit over to the
Right.
side, the sideline. And I think that's probably why Drew wants him to go right at him.
Game Kaler Watt.
And we'll be right back as we take a commercial break.
Established in 2009, Midnight Platform.
All right, Patty, and we're back here live at Lehigh Country Club.
Shout out to Mo Morrison, founder of Midnight. And of course, Chicago's finest, Arlene Frommer, who's a big fan. I'm wearing her pink hat on purpose, Dave. This is my Arlene hat. Pretty cool, isn't it? My
Yeah,
midnight wear.
midnight.
Will we finish today before midnight, Dave?
We have to change the format midway through.
So Dave,
15 love.
let's go back to nationals again. 32 teams, smaller format than usual this year in New Jersey, and we had
15 all.
29 teams qualify automatically from their rankings accumulated over 2 years, and then we had 3 wild card spots.
15:30.
And the lucky wild card people were informed yesterday of the decision that we would utilize the APTA's PTI system. I know you're a big fan of it, Dave, as it differentiates levels of players, and the next 3 teams, their combined PTIs, qualify for nationals. So we've got our 32 teams set for the men and 32 teams set for the women's play on April 10th and 11th.
And I think, in this a tough year for it, I'm sure many people are happy that it's going on. There might be a few disappointed that may not get in, but it's being held, which I think is a really good thing. And
Well, everything
it
we
can't
had to
be-
abbreviate
exactly,
this year.
absolutely.
Everything is 50%, 25%. Even out here today at Lehigh, we have a small but enthusiastic following. They got to play a Pro-Am day for a couple hours today with these players, which is so fun. And limited number of members are out there enjoying the action and practicing safe social distancing.
Yep.
30 all.
Dave, Lehigh is a historic club. They pride themselves on being a first-rate, golf facility, tennis, platform tennis. It's about the friendships, the camaraderie. They are so honored to be part of a place that really, just is looking to help people get passionate about sports and a healthy lifestyle. Heard a great story this morning from Sean and Sharon Brosnan from Canoe Brook. Sharon grew up here, was a member of Lehigh Country Club. She said one of the great traditions she remembers were her parents, every New Year's Eve, talk about midnight, they kicked off the new year, Peggy and Bruce Ambler, and they used to play every New Year's Eve tennis indoors with the Campbells, the Weavers, and the McNernys, and it was part of their tradition.
40-30.
And they all were passionate about the rackets and golf here at Lehigh Country Club, and those are the kinds of traditions and stories that we just love hearing about.
Yeah, no, and again, I was here earlier in the year doing a clinic, and we had a big turnout. Good turnout. Everyone's enthusiastic about it. Had fun. It's a great facility, great club. Can't say enough good things about Lehigh Country Club.
Deuce.
Can you say anything good about the pro, Dave? What a nice guy. I just met him.
Ari, he's the man. He, again, you talked about us getting out to play golf, and he literally, Ari Dada, the pro here, he literally was out in the parking lot waiting for us to come in.
I was so bummed I missed out on that opportunity to play some golf with you guys, Dave, today.
No, it was fun.
Really good. Yeah. I like the deep lob from Tomas. I think that's going to be key. Drew is the master of the short little lobs, Dave, to spots. Right. I think Tomas.
Advantage Kaylor Watt.
I think it would benefit to have him hit a different kind of lob and get a little bit of depth on his lobs. Dave, do we have a replay?
But I think even, as the points are going on quite a while up, and then we see our first shot out of the court. But you do still see the baseline team and the net, all the players, they are getting a little anxious, maybe trying to go for something a little sooner than normal, but you have more opportunity with the warm weather.
And you right before that, you
Broderick
heard
Christian.
Broderick call out, said, "I'm taking that point."
Yep.
He wanted Kaylor to serve to him.
We had a good get there by Tomas, good coverage by Drew.
$15 love.
So it's 4-2. Broderick and Christian
15 all.
are up here. First set, Pro Flight Paddle, our first match of the day. Well, not really our
30-15.
first match. Our first live stream match.
Correct.
We missed the Pro-Am earlier. See, that's the hard overhead that Tomas has to hit to keep Kaylor back deep. I think when it's 70 degrees, it's hard to control that little push shot sometimes.
Right.
There's that two-handed backhand crusher shot from Casey Watt.
What a get.
Oh my gosh.
That could be trouble.
No way. Oh my gosh.
Game, Broderick, Christian.
We're at 5-2. We'll be right back on
yep.
Pro Flight Paddle.
Taylor what to serve, 2-5.
Dave, so it's not a surprise that Tomas is stepping up here, and shout out to our sponsors, PPAC Private and Veritext here.
Yeah, no, he's playing well. He's playing well. It'll be interesting to see if they can stay consistent. And we're back live, Pro Flight Paddle at Lehigh Country Club.
I gotta believe Tomas Christian, that Deuce Court is the most relieved guy on the court right now, Dave. They have a little bit of a cushion here in this first set, and he had a few early errors, but he's settled in beautifully here.
And I think he's starting to drive a few more balls to, you know, like you said, keep Casey and Scott honest at the net there.
Yeah, and see, I think as he lobs better, it could, you know, it could set themselves up for a little bit of easier shots from
Right.
Taylor and Watt here. So I think he's doing a good job getting these guys a little bit back to the service line, and that'll open up the court a little bit for the drives.
15 love.
Yeah, and that's the danger. Casey just saw that the whole time. Just hit a little block forehand, little shot there. And this is a sport where,
30 love.
Dave, as we know, there are not as many winners. There's not the potential to hit as many winners. So Casey finding a way there on a forehand volley to end the point.
$30-15.
Move in and hit it.
40-15.
Dave, what side does Tomas play when he plays with JC? Have you seen them enough to know which they play?
I think he plays the forehand side,
Okay, the deuce side.
the deuce side.
Great. Two-hander, they let it go through. Kaylor chased it down with the back screen. You know, it's interesting. The mic is so sensitive, and you can hear it, Dave. You can hear the footwork.
Right, you could hear
I
the
mean,
you could hear the
everyone, the pitter patter, everyone. You can
Right.
just see and hear the setup steps that every one of these guys has before they hit every single shot.
you can see the sneaker company smiling
Totally.
that the grit is just wearing down the rubber soles. Wow, that's an amazing overhead. That ball went,
40-30.
that ball hit the side screen and came backwards.
You're at. Hang back. Hey.
Another good example of, you know, not having to hit the ball hard, just finding good spots.
Wow.
Two pretty
Deuce.
good overheads back to back.
Really good overhead. I mean, even Casey couldn't get that off that back screen. Oh my gosh. Great little drop shot. Great run down by Tomas.
Go.
Advantage, Kaylor Watt.
Little impatient there, went for a little bit too much.
Yeah, they kind of goaded him into hitting the shot. He was thinking, what could go wrong, Dave? He's got the ball of life on his forehand eye.
It is interesting also in the warmer weather to see how play is speeding up.
No. I'll take it.
And again, it's the second deuce. Receiving team gets to choose.
Second deuce.
Casey gets to go to Broderick. Whoops.
And we have a set point, number 1.
Oh my gosh, what a change. Broderick had it, then he said, whoops. Had a second thought.
First set.
All right,
Broderick
that's the first
Christian.
set. And we are going to
6-2.
go to a commercial break.
Good, thank you. Rest. Great job, right? I think it's a matter of just moving my pieces. You know what I mean? And not every time. I mean, on the balls, because then you won't pinch it, right? I think we stay for.
And we are back at Lehigh Country Club, Pro Flight Paddle. I'm Patty Hogan alongside David Broderick, pro over at Fiddler's Elbow, back in Jersey. And Dave, 6-2 first set for your
Broderick
brother,
Christian to serve.
Thomas
Second set.
Christian.
Yeah, no, it was a very entertaining set. I think Drew and Tomas came up with some big shots when they needed them. Really good overheads. I don't think Scott and Casey necessarily didn't play well. I think Drew and Tomas got a couple of breaks there, and that was really the difference.
Dave, after this match,
15 love.
what's up next? What do we have to look forward to?
So our next match that we'll be live streaming is going to be
15
Powers
all.
and Hughes, Mark Powers and John Hughes versus Scott Kaler and Casey Watts, which will, again, be another entertaining match, fun to watch. I can't wait to see what Mark Powers is going to do with spin to the ball in the warm weather.
John Hughes, what he's going to do
What he's going to do,
with
yeah.
his kick overhead.
It was fun. John and Mark played golf in front of us today, and with a couple of members from Lehigh, and fun day. It was a fun day out there. Again, here at Lehigh Country Club, we're very close, Patty, to the home of the Lehigh University Mountain Hawks. Shout out to the men's golf team, Captain Owen Quinn, and all the boys.
Is that 30 all for you guys? 540, all right, my bad. 1540.
Would you say that was a little risky coming from Drew?
That was, but we'll talk about
Game,
it after.
Taylor Watt.
Right.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
Okay, so we have Scott Kaler serving 1-0, second set. Kaler Watt lost the first set 6-2. What a cutter right there.
Yeah.
Broderick had Kaler in short, and a lot of people have a tendency to just try to hit
Low 15.
the ball too early and hit the ball flat, and the ball would come way off the screens. Broderick just had the discipline, just wait, hit that cutter, and that ball just died. So even Kaler couldn't run it back, run it down off that back screen.
And again, we see a lot of transition today. A lot of balls going through the net team, playing off the back screen. And again, in the warmer weather, that's a smart play.
Like that little backhand off-speed ball from Tomasi, threw it in there, Kaler, just to keep him honest.
All right, and that's ball number 2 out of the court.
Yep, Casey just hit that
Love
down
30.
up, and it kept going up, up, up.
Yeah,
It
that's
didn't
it.
come back down. And that's what 70 degrees does. Dave National is so exciting thinking about the men's side, the women's side, just some compelling stories. And, one of the most fascinating ones for me thinking about coming up is we have 4 of the men's players involved gunning for national title number 5. That would include Drew Broderick, Mark Parsons, and, of course, our defending national champs. Well, it's Johan and Stephen Mitchell and Durant, Parsons, Broderick, all going for number 5.
Low 40.
We've seen a bunch of faults from all the players today.
Well, I think,
Game Broderick Christian.
yeah, and I think Kaler can't decide how to hit it. We've seen him do a little bit of experimenting because of the warm temperatures here. And we have not seen a sidearm or underhand serve yet, Dave.
Right, I think especially from Scott Kaler. He doesn't want to hit a regular serve because he doesn't want the ball coming off the back screen that far and that hard. Then he's kind of stuck in between.
Low 15. all.
Dave, speaking of PTIs, these guys are really good. What are their PTIs?
All negative.
They're under par. It's amazing.
They are under par.
That's how good these guys are.
Good read there by Casey to close the net.
Again, no rush from Drew and Tomas to switch back to their other sides. Wow.
Sneaky big forehand there from Tomas.
30-15.
He better say sorry 3 more times because
The reason I asked about Tomas,
30 all.
right there, Dave, that ball from the, when he's in the ad court, the overhead's coming into his body. He just crushed that ball. And some
40,
players,
30.
Definitely are inside hitters, and some
Right.
are outside hitters, and that when you're playing the deuce court and that overhead goes cross court, it's moving away from your body. That one
Game
moved right
Broderick
in
Christian.
to a sweet spot. We'll talk about it more. We'll be right back here on Pro Flight Paddle.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so.
We're
Love
back.
15.
We're back at Lehigh Country Club. Second set. Our first match here. On this warm last Saturday in March, Dave. Karen Watt
Love 30.
looking to take this into a pro flight breaker, get to the third. Right before we took that break, we saw Tomas get a rip on a forehand. We were talking about how when you play the deuce chord versus the ad chord, sometimes your favorite, depending on if you're better at a ball, if you know, essentially hitting, you know, striking away from your body in a ball that's moving away from your body, or a ball that's moving in. And he hits such a heavy forehand there. Maybe Tomas should just say to Drew, hey, move over, let's switch.
$15, $30.
Here we see overheads going at the Nick again, looking to create different opportunities to try to win points.
Yeah, Drew kind of blew that shot. That was
Yeah,
a gift.
no, that was-
That's the risk reward of going for the Nick. It could come right out to someone's ball of and become a ball of life.
15-40.
Broderick couldn't believe his good fortune on that one.
30-40.
I also think in the warmer weather, where there are more opportunities, we see a good
Game Broderick Christian.
volley there by Drew. Where you do have more
3-1.
opportunities because of the liveliness of the ball. You know, I think
3-1.
Drew and Tomas are doing a really good job of creating patterns and not forcing a different shot early. You know, they're kind of hitting solid shots over and over and over again and then changing when they get maybe the second or third opportunity. Where I don't think they're taking that first ball that comes flying off.
Well, that's the discipline that we've always seen from Broderick's game. Whoever
Right.
he's playing with.
Love 15.
Should we tell Drew on the next changeover to take the sweatshirt off so people believe that we're 70 degrees?
Dave, it's sun protection. He's mindful of keeping those, you know, he's got that Irish skin. I think his skin's a little more fair than yours, Dave.
It is. It definitely is.
Tomas is getting much more comfortable, Dave, isn't
Yeah,
he?
I was just thinking the same thing. He's comfortable over there.
Yeah, you see those short little shots. He's got a willingness not to overhit those
Right.
and just pull the guy in so that you can back him up with the next lob. I think a lot of club level players take that short ball and go all or nothing. He's definitely feeling more comfortable. He didn't yield to Drew calling that ball on the baseline. But that's the confidence Drew wants. Oh my Lord, look at that spin. Great anticipation.
Love 30. Love 30.
Big game here, love 30 if they can get a break and get it back on serve.
Come on, look for it.
Good volley there by Tomas. Another good long point here.
$15.30.
Dave, we just got a score from Mark Powers in the mixed match.
That Mark Powers and
Did Mark play with Martina Andreeva?
Mark
and
played
Roxy?
with. Yep, he played with Martina.
And Roxy played with John Hughes.
And Mark Powers and Martina Andrekova won 8 games to 7, 7-4 on the tiebreaker.
Great, exciting match. They were playing on the court that you don't
30
see
all.
in the background behind the warming hut here. And it provided the members on the other side of front row seat to some great action.
And again, we'll look to see if we can switch over to that throughout the day and try to get some footage of the mixed doubles.
Wow.
40-30.
Casey was too fast for his own good right there. He actually overran that
Yeah.
ball. But that's what spins will do to you. Sometimes they can make anybody look a little silly on the shot.
Game, Broderick Christian, 4-1.
Dave, since 2009, Midnight Paddle Tennis has been outfitting players across the country with the coolest paddle swag ever to go with their uniquely designed line of Midnight Paddle platform tennis paddles for all levels of players. In addition to their unique line of paddles and apparel, Midnight Paddle Tennis creates custom items for teams for special events. It's always a paddle tennis adventure with Midnight. Shop the cool gear at www.midnightpaddletennis.com. Dave, I love the midnight outfit you have put together for yourself. Did Arlene and Mo help you shop?
You know what? Mo has hooked me up with some good gear over the years. So shout out to Mo and Arlene. Mo has been with Pro Flight Paddle Patty from the beginning.
And from the beginning, Dave, the first Pro Flight event, Westchester Country Club.
Yep, Mo was up there. Arlene, they had the tent set up.
And it was won by one of the teams we're going to miss a nationals, Monik Trinski and Graham McNerney. They won that, an amazing tournament, took out Broderick Palmer in the semis, Hughes and Powers in the finals. We're going to miss those Chicago guys at nationals this year. but we'll see them. We'll see them next year for sure. Graham's recovering from knee surgery, but I expect those guys to be obviously a force
In the future, yep.
in the season, and hopefully things can be a little safer with a lot of the country getting vaccinated. We can resume a little bit of normalcy around paddle tournaments next year.
Love 15.
Pretty exciting point there.
Dave, I still have my favorite hands down pro flight final ever. What's yours? It was
Last year at Navesink was a good one.
not my favorite. My
You know, there's
favorite.
been a-
2019, October, Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. Picture it, Bedminster, New Jersey.
Love 30.
Tyler Frazier and Adam Morgan.
Yep.
Another phenomenal team out of the Midwest. Took out Johan Durant and Stephen Mitchell. One of the most
15-30.
incredible paddle matches I've ever witnessed.
That was a very good one. Yeah, Tyler had the short spin serve going and the on the rise. Yeah, no, they played really well. They took out a lot of tough teams, and I think wasn't that one of the first times? Not the first time, but early on that they started playing together.
Yep. Yeah, they each played with some different guys, and then they had that success on the court, and they zeroed in, and they've had a phenomenal season this year. They've won a couple of Grand Prix events, Dave, and they're in it to win it at Nationals in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Wow, what an eye.
15-40.
Again, Tomas was a very good listener.
15-40, yep.
I'm glad he didn't try to hit it.
Yeah, so this is looks like Tomas and Drew are about to go up 5-1, second set here. We may be going to our second match sooner than later. Wow, what again?
The old drive-by slash
Game, Broderick Christian.
drop shot winner.
Don't you do that, Dave? Oh,
5 serving 1.
Lord.
Only because my momentum keeps me going.
That took a little bit of skill. And the ball spins into the net, unreturnable. Again, Kaler's
Oh,
trying to bring the offense here, kind of like he started the match.
really good
15
hands.
love.
Really good hands there.
Talk about nationals. Hughes and Powers look like the team to beat. Even though you have the defending national champs, Jerome Mitchell, I mean, it's going to be so exciting. But I can just see the way Mark Powers has come in and out of this room. He's got his game
15
face
all.
on, Dave.
Yeah, no, they've like I said before, they've been playing well. They've had some good results, and
15-30.
interesting to see Tomas here serving for the match. 15-30.
Dave, this could be Tomas's first win in a
30
pro
all.
flight paddle event. Sorry, JC. See you later. No, they're
30-40.
they're a team coming up through the ranks, and they've played in a couple of pro flight events because JC's been able to host a few from manufacturers and now Aeronomic Club. But tough to turn down a four-time national champ when he
Right.
calls you and says, "Hey, let's play."
Again, like we talked about earlier, Tomas has really settled into this match nicely and played with a lot of patience.
Again, a little bit of a gamble there from Casey and just kind of
Deuce.
got caught. And he knows how I feel every day.
All right, so that brings us, Patty, to match point number 1. No, actually, it doesn't bring us to match point number 1. Not yet.
I know, but they believe you, Dave. Isn't that magical how you say it and they write it just like that? They didn't know you were playing true or false with them.
Right. Okay, now we
Now,
have match
Dave.
point number 1.
Advantage, Broderick Christian.
All right.
The whole second deuce and third deuce and fifth.
I know, it gets confusing, Dave. Really tough
All
shot.
right, yeah,
Yep.
there's a tough
Game
match,
set match.
tough shot to end it.
Broderick Christian. 6-2, 6-1.
All right, Patty, well, we'll be back live in a few minutes
playing,
with our next match coming up of Watts and Kaler against Hughes and Powers, and we'll be going to a commercial break now.